Welcome to the Leap into Livestream podcast. Whether you're a digital marketer, small business owner, or an influencer, this is your space to discover how you can create instant engagement and drive growth with live, video, and social commerce using live selling strategies and techniques. I'm your host, Dawn Chubai, and I've spent over 20 years, maybe closer to 25, communicating and selling on camera as a national TV host on Breakfast Television, Canada's #1 morning show, as well as TV home shopping at the Shopping Channel in Canada, and as well the founder of Live Selling School. And if you're ready to elevate your business through live selling, you're definitely in the right place. So today's topic is story selling. I'll get to what that is in just a second, but more importantly, how it fits into the creator economy. And in this episode, I'm also going to share 3 key tips of stories, so types of stories that will help you connect your product to an audience and ultimately make sales. So let's dive in. According to Social Commerce Global Market Report from the business research company, the global market value of social commerce by 2027 will reach 689.9 billion. That's with a B, dollars. And that, by the way, increasing at a compound annual growth rate of 5.1%. So, what is social commerce? Well, you can probably guess, but I'll still tell you. It's a branch of e commerce that combines social interaction with sales. Now, when I say that, because we're talking about social media in general, that could be live. Obviously, that's where I'm passionate about, and video, right? But even a static post. So there's another term that maybe you've heard, and you certainly will more as time goes on. Creator commerce. Again, you can probably guess what that means, right? So you can call yourself kind of whatever you want, but ultimately, we're talking about creators becoming maybe even brands themselves or selling for another directly to audiences, products that they hopefully feel connected to and passionate about. And if you are a founder, I want to make sure you understand that you also fit into that creator commerce strategy. I will tell you, and this is where it gets really exciting. I know that you can tell I'm passionate, but it's essentially, evolving by the minute, right? And so when you look at the tools and software integration that can drive immediate sales, this is where, we really start to get, I'm going to say, next level in that marketing strategy. It's got huge potential for return on investment and a great number of key performance indicators as well, because you're also looking at connection. Now, this will also, because you've got these tools combined with the creator economy, I'm going to say the ability for less of a hard sell, which I know can be a turnoff for audiences. And I know for a lot of you that have been hesitant to really enter into the world of live selling, it can probably feel a little bit creepy, right? To sell so hard. And that might be what you associate, QVC or TSC or HSN with, right? Sort of that, but wait, there's more. And I want you to know that there is a total transformation that you can make with those original models to make them feel more authentic to you. So I'll talk about that in just a little bit. Whether virtually or in person, there is, without question, right, a big thing that sets the best salespeople apart from the rest. And that is the ability to make a connection of that product or service to an audience in a very personal way. And the better you are at it, I'm talking about essentially telling stories and making connections, the more you do it, the better you become. And then ultimately, the more successful you will be, especially in the creator commerce space. Because remember, we're doing it through technology, which already feels incredibly impersonal. So, this is a way that you can really set yourself apart. So, a way that you can make that connection is what I call story selling. I didn't invent the term, home shopping has been using it for years, but we're going to talk about story selling. So think of telling a story in a way that drives conversion. So whether you're going live, posting videos, or sharing on social media, it is your story which can make the difference between having a passive viewer and an engaged buyer. And today we're going to break down the 3 types of stories that you can tell to connect with your audience. So let's go. The brand story. This is the foundational story every creator or business needs to tell. Your brand story is why you do what you do. And I talk about the why of a lot of things in my HSH method of live selling course. So if you ever want to go deeper into that, just reach out to me. But this is the why you do what you do. It's also the why you created your brand. And I want to remind you, it's not just about the product, right? Ultimately, the product gets involved, but it's essentially the journey that led you to where you are today. So, whether you are a small business owner, maybe you're an influencer, launching your first product, or representing a major brand, the sharing the why behind your brand, it builds trust and it also humanizes your business. And I will say this is why the on camera creator economy, creator commerce, all of that is so important because it also puts a face to brands, which sometimes with direct to consumer doesn't happen. So this is, it all kind of ties in together, right? Then we got the customer success story. So nothing connects more than a story where your audience can see themselves in the shoes of someone else. So a customer success story showcases essentially real life results. So how your product or service has helped solve a problem or improved someone's life. And keep in mind, part of your brand story might be that this changed your life, but it doesn't have to be, right? It could be someone you know, or the reason d'etre, right? The reason you did this. This is so powerful because it ultimately makes your audience think, hey, that could be me. That could be me getting that transformation. And then we've got the product stories. So this is where you highlight not just the features of the product. And again, I kind of go on a bit of a rant about how important features are relative to the benefits in my course. And I have in other episodes of the podcast as well. So if you're just new for the first time, be sure to check back on some of the other great experts that I've interviewed about this very thing. But it's ultimately the benefit that is truly the thing that has someone adding to cart. It is the emotional and practical impact your product or service can have on someone's life. It's about creating a narrative, right? So this is where the story selling goes in. The narrative around the product that goes beyond the specs or the pricing, which frankly, if something doesn't work, a dollar is too much. So it's even less about the pricing, but more the value. And when it comes to the specs, again, that can sound super boring, like the wattage, the size, the whatever, unless it truly is important with respect to the benefits, or obviously, there's certain criteria clearly. But you want to also be able to, within that story selling, be able to tell the story of how it feels, what the experience is like when you use this product or have used or bought this service? Does it make your life easier, more enjoyable, more luxurious? I mean, this isn't really new for those of you that are salespeople, but I want you also to start to think too that if you are doing any kind of virtual selling, or what I like to call seeing the feel, then you have another element of storytelling. And I'm not going to go into it too deep here because it's in past episodes and I'll probably focus it on its own at some point, but it's the visual storytelling and what I like to call seeing the feel. So I just want you to kind of wrap your head around something here. And it's something I've said all along. And I really came to the realization when I started working in electronic retailing, how um, even my time in traditional broadcast on breakfast television, how often we're actually selling something. Because ultimately, I think we all are selling something. And if you even kind of break it down to maybe you're applying for a job, right? You're selling yourself. Maybe you are working for a charity. You're selling the idea of why money should be donated to the charity, but also selling someone on the fact that they should spend their charity money with your charity. So sales really has a thread absolutely everywhere. So if you're applying for a job, I'll go back to that. How will you sell the story of you that hooks the recruiter and separates you from the pack? So, as we kind of go through the whole idea of story selling, you've got a few things I'm sure to think about. I've also created a free guide that dives deep into how you can use these types of stories to engage your audience and drive sales. So, you're going to find the link to that download in the comments section, in the podcast description area, wherever it is, you'll find kind of all the transcripts and everything. It'll be in that section, and you can find that free download there. Now, if after listening to this episode or reading your free guide, or maybe you've already been following along for some time, or maybe you set a Google alert for live stream shopping and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to get in on it. It's not just for big brands, right? Because it isn't. It isn't just for big brands. And for those of you ready to take your live selling skills to another level, I'm going to invite you to go to livesellingschool.com. I've got a live selling course there, 6 modules, it's video, no travel. We go into a deeper dive on story selling, and I actually work through some incredible processes to help you formulate your story, as well as product demonstrations relative to the niche that you might be working in or selling in. Also, how to create a run of show, how to pitch yourself, all that important stuff. You're going to learn through that course how to stand out as a creator, as an influencer, as a brand ambassador. And especially if you're representing a brand, you want to provide value to the brands you work with or want to work with. So, this stuff is really important. And by the way, it's a great way to boost your income. And if you made it to the end of this, I do want to offer a nice little reward. So be sure to use promo code podcast100 and I'll offer you $100 off of my live selling course. But in the meantime, don't forget to get that free guide. And there's also free videos as well that cost you nothing. And you can get a really great insight in that space of live commerce, creator commerce at livesellingschool.com. I do want to hear also as you work through that guide, or if you listen to this and you have some storytelling techniques, or if you want to tell me your story, let me know in the comments. I want to know about your business, your product, and all of that. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Leap into Livestream podcast. Please like and subscribe and share with a fellow entrepreneur or creator. And I'll see you next time.